Going live. Go live. Oh, we're live. There we go. Just wanted to make sure we were live. Brought to you by the new Pharaoh's Lounge Kickstarter right here. Happy Harley Days 2. Look at that. We already crossed 10 grand. Look how powerful that is. We turned the fucking thing on. Here we go. So, with the DC comic book universe in such crazy disarray, and them firing people and shelving movies and all that other crazy shit, it's always a great time to try and throw your name into the hat. As you know, we make the best comic books in the business over at Pharaoh's Lounge. You see all our cool shit here. Use the code PIXIE3 for a 15% discount. And as always, our brand new Kickstarters are always kicking some ass. But we're here to discuss our take into the DC Universe. I got myself a little subscription to DC Comics Infinite because I've always had a fucking dream of writing a story about Metropolis. Not necessarily a Superman story, but I've been in love with Superman comics since I was a kid. It's what got me into fucking comics. I love Superman. Always wanted to play Superman. When I lived out in LA and I was a stripper, I actually went in a fucking Superman costume to DC with Warner Brothers in Burbank, and long fucking story. And I didn't get in, and I didn't get the fucking part. I think Brandon Routh got the part, and that movie sucked. But I really wanted to write the fucking thing. Anyway, we're not talking about any of that shit. I've often been asked, with my moderate success in the comic book world, the writing process. And I kind of talk out loud when I do it. You play music, you create an atmosphere. But what I always wanted to do was get a master's and teach writing. So I guess I got to hone my skills because colleges are starting to be a little bit losing their credibility. So I don't know if it's worth it paying 30, 40 fucking grand for a master's when you can just teach right here on YouTube. Promote your Kickstarters, promote your website, sell Dara the Mistress of Mars, the American Safari. But what we got here is we're starting from square one, and the idea is to take you through the writing process, and together with this YouTube clips, we're basically going to teach a course by writing Metropolis. And the ideas I have is stop making movies because DC's not going to catch up to Marvel. Marvel kicked their ass because they fucked everything up. So I thought, what if you had that HBO budget and you did like a Game of Thrones type thing where you stopped using Earth as the basis for the DC universe? Because again, I feel like Marvel's outshadowed them and just kind of taking control of everything. So stop having New York and Washington, D.C. and just start focusing on this fictional universe and really, really just go open with your world building. And I feel like that's what we could do if we did a TV show instead of just trying to write a feature film, blowing all your budget on fucking celebrity and special effects, when you could really, really do a really character-driven show. And the idea I have is that you have Clark Kent and Lex Luthor meeting at a train station. No modern, you can have modern technology mixed in with the whole noir feel, and the idea is that you're telling a timeless tale. And I want to tell the idea of, let's say we're going for 13 episodes, 60, an hour each. So we're looking for fucking 13 fucking episodes, 60 pages each. That's our goal here in our writing class, Professor Kane's writing class. And we're going to write a fucking series called Metropolis. And if all goes well, I'll take the budgets I have for my independent comic books, and we're going to make some test pages, put it into like a little graphic novel action, and try to fucking get this thing sold to DC. So the idea is to put it together, write it as a comic book script because that's how I'm comfortable writing it. But what I like to do is I sift through comic books, but you pick a section of comics, and the idea is you kind of blow through them and you pull out ideas that you could put together as a story. So let's see if this method could work and if we could successfully write 13 fucking episodes. Let's focus on one episode, and we'll go from there. And if we're not sick of each other, we'll just keep going. Make some sales along the way, shall we? Look at that shit. Go to the latest Kickstarter campaign, which I just went to. This is a new computer. It's a very sensitive keypad. I love looking at that. We're looking at that. I'm all over the fucking place. All right, here we are. My favorite story of all time, what got me into writing, was North and South. Patrick Swayze miniseries that was on ABC when I was a kid, about 1987, 1986. And the idea is my favorite scene is when George and Ori first meet right here in New York City. And the idea is Ori has come from the South. He's a rich kid from a good family. They're both going to West Point. They meet on a train. They become best friends. And you literally see American history just fucking unfold all around this friendship, and their friendship is tested, of course, because one's from the north and one's from the south, and they end up meeting on the battlefield in the Civil War, and it's fucking sick, and it's my favorite story of all time. And I was inspired by, this is the very first episode, and I got the mute on so I can run this video here without getting in trouble, plus it's a fucking, I think it's French translation anyway, it's the only way to get the video for free. But again, we have here Ori coming to New York City for the first time. He's very, very far away from home, he's on his way to West Point. And then the idea is that, George is kind of more refined, more of a playboy. And they meet here in New York City, and the idea is that, Ori gets in trouble, George saves his ass, they become best friends, they take the train to West Point together, they end up becoming roommates and best friends. The idea I have to open this story, this Metropolis TV series, to be on HBO, to be the brand new Game of Thrones, really reinvent Superman, Lex Luthor, everything. So, my idea you have here, you start at a train station, the train to Metropolis. Metropolis has been through a great war, a recession, a fucking stock market crash. Picture New York in the 20s and 30s after the crash, the Great Depression. I really want to pin it back to what Metropolis was like when Siegel and Schuster and Siegel were writing this. And I thought would be really cool is that you have Lex Luthor and Clark Kent meeting at this train station. Of course, Lex Luthor, the more smarter one, of course, being bullied, almost being robbed of all his things by a couple of street toughs, because again, desperate times. Now again, this is not set on Earth. I have the idea that the DC universe takes place on the planet fucking Saturn, so again, clean slate, 100% from scratch world building, almost like playing fucking Civilization and SimCity at the same time. So, again, you have Lex Luthor at a train station. He's about to get roughed up. And of course, who saves his ass is going to be Clark Kent. Of course, Clark Kent, still hiding who he is. And the idea is, in order to open the story, we could open right here at the train station, but I thought would be a really cool opening is, I don't want to do any fucking kind of crazy Zack Snyder, develop 45 minutes of fucking Kryptonian mythology. I thought literally, I always wanted to pin Krypton's explosion, not on Krypton falling apart and them getting too advanced for themselves. I thought about the idea of, you literally have the opening page is Krypton. You see Krypton, you kind of pan in. You see a launch of Krypton. You see, of course, the spaceship taking Superman out. And you literally just see the skull ship, the Brainiac skull ship, kind of float up in the air, shoot a beam down, blow up the fucking planet Death Star style. So you literally see, but you see that one ship getting away. And I'm still playing with the idea of, like, the Brainiac ship sees it get away and goes after him. And maybe it goes into a wormhole. Or you basically just has the ship get away almost like you didn't know he went away. It's basically trying to ask yourself, it's all choices and questions you want to ask when you're writing down the story. Do we want Brainiac to know that that baby got away, that the ship got away? Or does he not know that it got away, so Clark's able to kind of like live in secret until Brainiac kind of gets an idea? I kind of like the idea of more conspicuous, because again, then we get into the meat of the story. We don't have to waste too much time with Krypton. I literally want page fucking one of this graphic novel is literally fucking panning into Krypton, skull ship rising out of the fucking planet, beam shoots down, Krypton explodes, and you see that one little seed get away, carry him to the thing, of course, fade into the fucking theme song opening credits, and then you have this right here. We pan into this train station where Lex Luthor is being bullied. He's about to get fucking mugged, fucked up. Of course, he's not backing down. I want Lex Luthor's not a pussy. I don't want Lex Luthor to be a pussy, because you want to build the show, not necessarily, remember, it's called Metropolis, not Superman. So the idea is you're building this story around a friendship that begins on day one, where Lex Luthor is about to be mugged by a bunch of fucking broke street toughs. Of course, Clark comes in, kicks their ass with Lex Luthor together. They fight together. They meet up on this train that's going to Metropolis, and they're going to just give each other their life stories. And you're going to see these two become best fucking friends on this train into this city that has taken such a beating. We'll make references to Gotham. I want the idea that Gotham is the Dark Knight Returns, but if Bruce Wayne had won and succeeded, and Gotham City is just fucking ultimate fucking James Bond, Tony Stark shit, but we'll get to that later on. We can make references to Gotham, but whenever they mention Gotham, I want them to basically say, oh my god, that's the other side of the world. So literally they'll be discussing their family histories. We're going to be as vague as possible. Clark is literally going to say, I grew up on a farm. My parents had passed. I sold the farm, and now I'm here. Took the money and simple as possible. I sold the farm, and now I'm here. So, of course, there's talking. Then we get to the boring part of this where we have to type. But again, you want to basically lay it out first, talk the story out, take notes, always keep a notebook and pen handy so you kind of scribbling down little bullet points. But I love this opening idea. Ever since I've watched this story a million times, I always thought I wanted to write a story where this is the opening scene. And I thought, fucking Clark Kent and Lex Luthor exchanging family histories. Vague, quick, discussing how they want to take on Metropolis. What I want to introduce over the course of this 13 episode fucking series is that Metropolis can only thrive and survive and rebuild based around their mutual partnership. So either you let the friendship last over time, and something's got to break this friendship up, whether it's a Lois Lane love triangle, whether it's not seeing the sides of the issue. The point is, Metropolis is going to need them both, of course. And I want a strong friendship, so again, that falls on the writer and the dialogue and the characterization, because you want to be able to fucking really believe the friendship. So we're going to focus on the idea of writing a 60-page pilot episode, Metropolis, episode 1. We're going for 60 pages. Basically, every writing session we're trying to try and add a page, or maybe 2 pages, 3 pages, until, of course, the 60 pages are done, and we've written a beautiful, gorgeous episode 1. Then I'll start getting the art drawn up, and then we try to get this fucking thing in front of DC, or make a couple of bucks in the underground, you know what I mean? Until DC's fucking WB lawyers are the fucking worst. They fucking sit on the internet all day, hounding, looking for logos, and anybody doing their fucking arts, they can shut you down. They suck. I mean, Marvel may suck lately, but at least they're not, fucking bothering people. Okay, so that scene's over. So again, North and South, great fucking series. I'm trying to... sensitive new pad. So again, what we're going to do is we take a section. Of course, writing comics and using a source material could be really crazy with all the fucking history of comics. It's really important to kind of center in on something and use it as a challenge. When I was a kid and you couldn't afford, they didn't have all this digital shit, you had to basically go to the library or buy the old comic books and like the collected trade paperbacks. And of course, they didn't have all the old Amazing Spider-Man, you couldn't afford them. So they had them collected in those black and white volumes where it was like, I think it was Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 20 and the annual number 1. And I gave myself this challenge of trying to write a complete Spider-Man movie using just the source material from that book, Spider-Man's 1 through 20 and annual 1. And then I picked out Kraven as the villain for the story. I wrote this awesome like Batman Begins type story for Spider-Man. And that's what got me, I got me as close as possible to being the writer of Spider-Man 4 again. Depressing story. Disney bought it for $4 billion. I was out of the running, got no shot. But I wrote a fucking kick-ass Spider-Man 4 continuing from that storyline. Closest I ever got to a real fucking screenwriting success. But fuck them, because we make money in the comic book business. Again, let's do this here. I'm a silly professor, but I'm a great professor. So in order to really kick it back old school and have some fun, the challenge I'm going to use is going right to the beginning. Using a section of Action Comics on the DC app. You see they basically have the first 100-something. I'm thinking they break it up at some point here. I want to do a complete run and use the run of comics to try and write the 60 pages. See what source material we can pull out. See what cool shit we can pull out. And our goal is to write a 60-page, number 1 graphic novel. And then basically turn it. But the idea is we're trying to build it like a world-building thing. We're trying to write like a Game of Thrones type approach to the DC universe. No more references to Earth, Washington. Creating our own world, terminology, everything. So there's no pop culture references. There's no stupid fucking social media jokes. I can't stand that CW bullshit. All right, so here's the breakup. They provide, if you don't know why they break it up, I'm assuming they'll add more later on, but we see they have the very first 105 issues of Action Comics before it jumps to the first appearance of Supergirl. So again, we're going to look at it as the cutoff of right here for Season 1. But again, we might find a lot of garbage in these issues. So either we're going to write the entire season, 13 fucking episodes, based on these 105 issues, or we'll write one episode. Our goal is to write one episode and get as far as possible till we get to the end of the whole Action Comics run. If any of these comics cross over with any other ones, we can open those into new windows. This is how I basically write. I pull source material when I come up with cover commissions about how I would have handled it, the Hugh Hefner Playboy approach, and it's gotten me successful so far. I have a cannabis and whore fucking addiction, and this pays for it. So, our goal to write Metropolis, 60-page, number 1, using the source material provided by Action Comics. We've already provided our opener. So before we open this old bad boy up, let's write our first 2 fucking pages, man. You saw what we want to do. Clark, Lex Luthor meeting at the train station. We can bullet point it for now and then basically go through the issue, taking down all the notes that we like. We know page 1. Again, we don't have to format it out. We can do that when it's all said and done. Let's get all the fucking... Because right now I want to create. So we take a puff. No. Fuck out of here. Taking a break. Kiss my ass. All right. Panning in. Pan into Krypton. Silent orbit. We can elaborate later on. Let's get it all laid out. We see Brainiac's skull. I love that fucking skull ship. It's like my favorite fucking coolest thing ever. Rise above Krypton's surface. Hovering over for shooting a Death Star like beam onto the surface. Krypton explodes or implodes. We can make it look really fucking cool. As the skull ship flies away, you see the one lone projectile leave the planet amid the destruction or implosion. We have to play around with that. Close up shows it's the ship carrying baby Clark Kent, but we don't see the baby yet. The idea is you just see the ship. You just see the ship flying away. Unknown to Brainiac's skull ship. Now again, we don't really know it's Brainiac yet, but those of us that are hardcore Superman fans know. Skull ship. So again, this fucking thing gets away. And that's all we fucking do about Krypton for now. We can always reveal more about Krypton as we get along, but I want to just get right into... Remember, this is called fucking Metropolis, man. This is not called Krypton. This is not called Superman. It's called Metropolis. Metropolis. Chapter 1. We call Episode 1. Give it a Star Wars feel. My favorite game. Fuck it, man. Take your credit. All right. So again, we break up the panels. Right now, we want to break down the storyline. Okay? That's page 1. Page 2, train station. You see Lex Luthor trying to argue his way out of paying some locals to load his baggage, his many bags. He's arguing about delicate equipment as the thugs grow restless and begin to accost him. Lex is saved from being mugged and beaten by Clark Kent, who kicks their asses with Lex coming in for a final shot on the last thug. They meet, shake hands, introducing themselves Where, of course, that'll be the first time we hear, Clark Kent, Smallville, I mean, Lex Luthor will say, Lex Luthor, that kind of thing. Introducing themselves, getting them, getting that nice, which gets us to page 3. Lex and Clark on the train, exchanging life stories and histories, revealing their motivation for moving to Metropolis. Metropolis, of course, is a once great city. It's fallen into depression and ill repair after a great war and a major recession. Lex is going to take over the city. Clark is looking to start a new life. After selling his parents' farm. So we're going with the original Superman origin, where like his parents, they were an older couple when they found him as a baby. We'll get into that, and the ideas they pass on. Because eventually, I think we're going to have, instead of this fortress of solitude in the Arctic, I like the idea of maybe Clark keeps the farm. When he has the money, he buys back the farm, and that becomes the fortress of solitude. I love the idea of the farm is his fortress of solitude. Play with that. I like that. Which will eventually be revealed or become his fortress of solitude. All right. So we're going to play around, try to get some notes down, and then I could do it on camera now once we're all done with some notes. But the idea is we're trying to formulate what's going to happen in this first thing, this first episode, if you will. Because again, you want to think of it as like you're painting it like it's a Game of Thrones story. I want to think of like the real thrill I got that first time you see Arya like going into Bravos, where she sees the big Vulcan statue. I love shit like that. We see them, come into Metropolis. And together, their friendship is going to rebuild the city. Crime and depression. We have to turn these notes into a... But the idea they're trying to... Right now we're doing the layout. That's what we're doing the layout. Having some fun with the layout. All right. So the idea is we have 105 issues as our goal to try and... Like, again, let's go for the 60 pages. Stop worrying... Always worrying about fucking 13 episodes. We got to write one so we can get the thing drawn and in front of fucking this. We want to write a good pilot episode. So again, we go through all this shit. As a distant planet was destroyed by old age, a scientist placed his infant son within a hastily devised spaceship, launching it towards Earth. When the vehicle landed on Earth, a passing motorist, discovering the sleeping babe within, turned the child over to an orphanage. Now, we're not going to show any of that right now. Attendants, unaware of the child's physical structure, was millions of years advanced of their own, were astounded at his feats of strength. When maturity was reached, he discovered he could easily leap an eighth of a mile, hurdle a 20-story building, leap the eighth of a mile, hurdle a 20-story building, raise tremendous weights, run faster than an express train, and that nothing less than a bursting shell could penetrate his skin. Early Clark decided he must turn his titanic strength into channels that would benefit mankind, and so was created Superman, champion of the oppressed, the physical marvel who had sworn to devote his existence to helping those in need. Well, look at this. Now remember, this is 1938, 37, 1938, 39, fucking 8 year this thing came out. Kent had come from a planet whose inhabitants' physical structure was millions of years advanced of our own. Upon reaching maturity, the people of his race became gifted with titanic strength. Incredible? No! For even today on our world exist creatures with super strength. The lowly ant can support weights hundreds of times its own. The grasshopper leaps what to a man would be the space of several city blocks. So the idea they could be talking about this. Lex Luthor, because you're looking for dialogue. As we do layout, you also want to look for ideas for dialogue. Because you don't want to write that, see Dick run. I can't stand generic dialogue. That's where a writer shows their fucking weakness. This whole scene of them on the train could be shit like this, what they're talking about. You think about when they originally were making Superman and Metropolis and all that, Siegel and Schuster were writing, I think the story is called Reign of the Superman, where literally I think there was like a Clark Kent type that was trying to turn somebody into a superhuman. So the idea is that you can have Lex. What's fucking happened to you? Lex. Lex is talking to Clark about experimentation, enhancing human strength and intelligence. Clark, of course, knowing who he is, humors Lex and pretends to be aloof. Later on, when Clark needs to cut loose, we can see him leaping long distances and running alongside a train in order to blow off steam. Maybe this is when Clark goes back to visit his farm. He looks at some old pictures of his family, his adopted parents, which again are older. So they raise him until they pass, and that's when Clark leaves for Metropolis. We can do all of this in a flashback scene. But for now, we want to get his ass to Metropolis. So where we go here? He could talk about the grasshopper. He could talk about ants. The idea is this could all be dialogue that Lex is saying about superhuman strength, experimenting, that kind of shit. A tireless fighter races through the night, seconds counting. Seconds count. Delay means forfeit of an innocent life. So again, we're getting into the meat. We're going through the old Superman comics, this really shitty ass art. And we're going to try and pull a story that we can use for our pilot episode. It could be, again, this is all about the city. This isn't cosmic shit yet. We want to get into the cosmic shit, which we can do later on. The governor's estate is finally reached. Make yourself comfortable. I haven't the time to attend to it. What do you mean by knocking at this hour of the night? I must see the governor. It's a matter of life or death. See him in the morning. I'll see him now. This is a legal entry. I'll have you arrested. Answer my question. Are you going to take me to the governor? No, I won't. Then I'll take you to him. Help! This is the governor's sleeping room. Really? This is my sleeping room, as opposed to my jerking off room. Don't think you're going to get away with this outrage. It's locked. Yes, and made of steel. Try and knock this down, shithead. Boom! He knocks it fuck down. It was your idea. What's the meaning of this? Evelyn Curry is to be electrocuted in 15 minutes for murder. I have proof of her innocence. A signed confession. Believing the governor menaced by a madman, the butler produces a concealed weapon. Reach for the ceiling, quick. Put that toy away. I warn you, take another step and I'll shoot. The bullet bounces off him, of course. The bullet ricochets off Superman's tough skin. This is no time for horseplay. See, they give you a little counter. See, that I like, too. That's kind of a cool little trick. 12 minutes to go for this chick electrocuted. Don't you realize I've proved she's innocent and you alone can save her? Let me see those papers. Hurry! Connect me with the penitentiary. Stop! The governor has pardoned her. Thank God. I told you I was innocent. He's gone. Disappeared. Yes, but he's a note he left, sir. You'll find the real murderers bound and delivered on the lawn of your estate. Next morning, as Kent leaves for the newspaper upon which he works as a reporter, have you heard the Curry girl is innocent? Let's see the paper. Good. I'm not mentioned. Gentlemen, I still can't leave my senses. He's not human. Thank heaven he's apparently on our side of the side of law and order. Miles away in the governor's private care. We can't even see. Okay. He's apparently on the side of law and order. See, this is a little harder with their little panel jumper because of the old comic books, the way they were kind of formatted, but we'll get over it. Miles away in the governor's private chain. All right, so we have a governor. We can have governors. That could work. You have your titles. We can have kings and queens. Again, I'm looking to paint a Game of Thrones type world building universe. Now we have to think about where the train stops. You get into Central, and of course, they look upon their Lex knows things about Metropolis in their conversations, maybe little subtle mentions of Gotham. Because again, Clark will ask him. Clark will ask him why he hasn't chosen to go to Gotham instead. Where Lex can say, makes a remark about Bruce Wayne stealing his idea. Clark will even say, Gotham is high tech. You could have all sorts of cool shit there. Clark will say Gotham is high tech. Lex will ask Clark, why doesn't he go to Gotham? So again, a lot of the times I walk around my fucking apartment, I talk to my fucking dog when I'm doing dialogue. Dialogue makes or breaks a great fucking story. You can't just have the great art panels and all that other shit. But again, you want to watch these in this scene, whether it's 2 pages, 1 page, in this conversation where they're drinking fucking tea and eating scones and looking at the city as it comes into view. And again, it's beat up. It's a beat up city. Even if you look at these early comic books and the early Supermans, Metropolis is very generic, not just because of the art at the time in the 30s, but it's just so we use that. We use this fucking beat up city. Now they have the Daily Star. Of course, we know the Daily Planet. I'm thinking that's the first thing you see. The Daily Planet should be the fucking center of the city. It should be the one building that's still because the idea is that's going to be Superman's centerpiece, his headquarters. He's going to basically do everything out of there. And again, I don't want the cell phones. I hate fucking cell phones. I hate the iPhones. I have one. I'm a victim of technology like any other modern day e-commerce man. But again, I don't want it on my fucking show. I want this idea of knights and queens and kings. It doesn't have to be royalty terminology. Just I want this idea of painting a really fucking cool city that's getting rebuilt. So us as the readers and the writers, the city's rebuilding as we're getting there. So the idea is that Superman's, and their idea is he shows up and the city's already going and doing its thing. The two of them should be showing up in Metropolis at a time where Metropolis fucking needs these two to show up and start some fucking waves. And that's your story. So, again, let's go to our next page here. Again, we have their conversation. The train gets to Metropolis. And they see the Daily Planet building where Lex advises Clark to begin his adventures there. See, Clark tells Lex he's moving to Metropolis to be a writer. Remember, he sold his parents' farm. For a good amount of cash and financed his move to Metropolis and writing career. Lex is going to Metropolis. Fucking writing this fucking city's annoying. Lex is going to Metropolis because, like Clark, he believes the real work lies in the rebuild. Of course, over time, we will see that Lex comes to Metropolis because he wants to take it over. It sees its vulnerabilities ability. It sees it's vulnerable. So they both want to be a part of the rebuild. The resurrection of Metropolis. Now you use that like when you're introducing Perry White, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, all these guys at the Daily Planet, Daily Star. You basically make Perry's the one that says, by God, I'll die in this city, I'll die in the paper. It's you can have. I like the idea of like you can have like a video screen on the Daily Planet thing, showing the goings on of the city. Yeah, I kind of dig that. Like again, I like the idea of you have some modern technology. We're telling a neo-noir story, kind of. So you have elements of modern technology mixed in with elements of the past. Just really, again, it's beautiful. So, again, we're into page 4, page 5 here. The introduction of the Daily Planet. The only building that still maintains some beauty and class among the decaying city all around it. Perry White, Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen. I mean, we meet them all here. But again, we don't have to meet them yet. We just see the Daily Planet's there. Lex advises Clark, if you want to be a writer, if you want to adventure, this is where you start. Nothing goes on in Metropolis without the Daily Planet finding out about it. Daily Planet's the center of Metropolis, It's a great name. I've always loved the Daily Planet because, again, you can do anything with that. And you can use Saturn. Saturn's the planet because, again, the Daily Planet's going around the rings, the little fucking record dish, all that fun stuff. Perry White will be the one that always says, the most important, they are the most important part of the city's rebuild. Resurrection, of course. We'll go back to that word, resurrection. All right, so we got to play around here. Let's play around. You wanted to, God damn it. You wanted to see me? Yes, be seated. Did you ever hear of Superman? What? Reports have been streaming in that a fellow with gigantic strength named Superman actually exists. I'm making it your steady assignment to cover these reports. Think you can handle it, Kent? Listen, Chief, if I can't find out anything about this Superman, no one can. And I like the idea of, Clark can wear a fucking nice fucking suit. Buy himself a nice suit. Hurry, Kent. A phone tip. Wife beating at 211 Court Avenue. So remember, we're world building. So we want to get our little terminology, Court Avenue, buildings. And then, of course, you look at the beauty of when, like, George R. R. Martin was writing Game of Thrones, how, like, these hardcore fans are the ones that helped him make that map of Westeros and Easteros, North Theros, South Theros. I'm on my way. Hold it. What do you want? Don't get tough. This is putting it mildly the treatment you're going to get. You're not fighting a woman now. Well, that's kind of sexist and virtue signaling Superman. But there was nothing better than the fucking Superman wall smash. I mean, that's got to be a move that he's got to do to people. Clark, let's call him, of course, Superman. Superman can involve himself in a dispute in his building and beat the shit out of a wife beater by throwing him into a wall. I always love the wall smash. I love the wall smash. So the wall smash has got to be a part of any fucking storyline. You asked for it. With a sharp snap, the blade breaks upon Superman's skin. And now you're gonna get a lesson you'll never forget. Oh, he's gonna rape him. Fainted. Hearing police sirens, Superman hurriedly donned street clothes over his uniform. It would be just too bad if they searched me. What are you doing here? Hello, Captain. I arrived to find a place like this. Looks as though our friend Superman has dropped in to pay a visit. What do you say to our date tonight, Lois? Later. I suppose I'll give you a break for a change. Where's he? You always avoid me at the office. Oh, please, Clark. I've been scribbling sob stories all day long. Don't ask me to dish out another. Nice looking dame there, eh? Guess I'll cut in. Wait, Butchie, suppose the escort don't like it. So what? He gets nasty, I'll push his face in. This is gonna be good. I said run along, I'm cutting in. This is not a robber's dance. Try to get flip. Move quick if you know what's good for you. Clark, are you gonna stand for this? Reluctantly, Kent adheres to his role of a weakling. Be reasonable, Lois. Dance with the fellow, and then we'll leave right away. You can stay and dance with him if you wish, but I'm leaving now. Yeah, you'll dance with me and like it. Why, you? Good for you, Lois. Lois, don't! Fight, you weak-livered polecat. Really? I have no desire to do so. Wait, Lois! But Lois! You asked me earlier in the evening why I avoid you. I'll tell you why. Because you're a spineless, unbearable coward. Let's get out of here. I'll show you that skirt. She can't make a fool out of Butch Matson. Again, we have a name now. Butch Matson, Court Avenue. I don't know if we're going to go with the avenues. We want to build our own thing here. Gangster. Something to play with. Butch Matson. Something to tinker with. Again, when characters pop up, we're world building here. The governor. I don't think the governor even had a fucking name. Governor of Metropolis. They can murder each other. The gangster can kill the governor. Lois Lane, of course. We want a good intro to Lois Lane. A hidden figure observes Butch and his fellow hoodlums leave the roadhouse. Okay. The roadhouse. The fucking roadhouse? I mean, Patrick Swayze, the gangster Butch Manson. Owner of the roadhouse. His criminal front. Where Clark and Lois will go undercover to on a sting. Where Clark will have his first adventure with Lois. Perry tells Lois to take Clark along on the story. Just got to figure out what Butch is doing. What Butch Matson is doing. Because again, you have your side stories here. A lot of this is going to be the friendship of Clark and Lex, but also I'm thinking about maybe a love triangle between Lois, Clark, and Lex. We'll see what develops as we write our story here. Because again, we're world building. We're world building here. Butch forces Lois taxi into a ditch. Pull over there. Let me go. Get in the car and shut up. Now remember, our Superman doesn't fly. He can leap. Maybe we'll learn to fly later on, but again, I want the whole leaping the buildings and chasing shit. I kind of dig that so far. Let me go. Get in the car and shut up. Well, maybe you two may meet again. What burns me up is that I let her yellow boyfriend off so easy. Then I hope it'll be soon. I love the gangsters. Hey, watch out. Someone's standing in the road ahead of us. Ha! Watch me scare him out of his wits. Look out, you'll hit him. Superman hurtles onto the oncoming auto. Butch, step on the gas. He's chasing after us. It's the devil himself. Butch's car leaps forward like a released rocket, but it's easily overtaken by Superman. Yow! And then we have the occupants of the car are shaken out. So again, does he catch Lois? Where the fuck is Lois? And the car itself is smashed to bits. Of course, I mean, I would say you put this in the story, but they did it in Superman Returns, so I can't do it because it's been done, so fuck it. I like the idea of the car hitting him, but again, Lois is in the fucking car. So I don't know. I don't know if we're going to use this. Next, Superman takes over Butch in once, overtakes Butch in one spring. Just a minute, Butch. Do you mind? But this will take a few seconds. You need to be afraid. See, this is always always the iconic. Get me off of here. Okay, I'll cut you loose. Don't. This right here is my favorite shot. To me, one day I would like to get somebody to draw this. I always love this shot. This to me is the quintessential fucking Superman shot. You need to be afraid of me. I won't harm you. You gotta have that line in here. It's the best. It's the greatest fucking line of all time. Clark's got to say the line. He's got to say the line. We're looking at world build our characters up. Clark has to say the line. You needn't be afraid of me. I won't harm you. It's a great line. It's that fucking first time Superman I mean, he's met her as Clark, but this is when he meets her as Superman. You needn't be afraid of me. I won't harm you. I love that fucking line. Bearing Lois in his arms, Superman heads towards the city, depositing her upon its outskirts. I'd advise you not to print this little episode the next morning. But I tell you, I saw Superman last night. Are you sure it wasn't pink elephants you saw? Lois treats Clark colder than ever. Wait, does it say she's at the Daily Planet? Next morning. It just says next morning. Okay. I'm sorry about last night. Please don't be angry with me. Clark receives an assignment. Kent, the front page is getting so dull I've even got a headline card games. There's a war going on in the small South American republic San Monte. And to stir up news, I'm sending you down there as a correspondent. Take along a camera and try to send back some good shots with your articles. San Monte. See, I use San Marte. Get the fuck out of here with your fucking screen time shit. Let's put some sunglasses on so I don't go blind. Professor Kane, the future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. All right, here we go. San Monte. I love, so again, remember, we're world building. So, are we going to go away yet? I don't know. We can have San Monte be a neighborhood in Metropolis. Neighborhood. Metropolis. Where am I? Oh. This is an exercise, but I'm going to try and make it a comic book to try to get it over to DC. God willing. They need the fucking help, man. They're hiring shit writers. So, I got a comic book team. It's just about putting my own cash into it. So, thank you for asking. Sorry I didn't see that. I'm still getting used to this. All right. San Monte, South American Republic. So again, that's like Corto Maltese, but San Monte doesn't have to be South American Republic. You can always hold San Monte for later. I use San Monte and Zeldar, the Mistress of Mars. Ken takes a train not towards San Monte, but to Washington, D.C. I mean, they could be coming from San Monte. Again, I like San Monte. It's got a cool ring to it. No Washington, D.C. We're not going with real cities. I wanted a whole complete fictional D.C. universe. This is me making my play to take over DC and be the head of DC Comics. I don't want to put out monthly comics anymore. Put out one magazine, the DCU magazine, where you just basically have a bunch of manga style. You're telling a whole shitload of stories from the DC universe, but 5 or 6 pages at a time, like Game of Thrones. Big, really cool, fun story. So, I like the idea of making the comic books events. So instead of like releasing a fucking comic book every month where you're rushing your fucking team and just putting out filler pages, which I fucking hate, you make it events. Graphic novels should be events. You release 2 or 3, 4. Like Superman should have maybe 2, 3 novels a year. That's it. Just big fucking fun events. Maybe 1 novel a month from different characters. Or again, the monthly magazine, 5 or 6 pages from each of the characters, the revolving teams. A lot more fun. In the capital city, he attends a session of Congress, sitting in the gallery. Is that Senator Barrows speaking? Yes. All right, Senator Barrows. Again, we have some characters. Now, again, in the early days of comics, a lot of these characters were one-offs, but we can extend them. Senator Barrows. The train to San Monte. Upon leaving the Senate chambers, Clark snaps a picture of the furtive man speaking swiftly to Senator Barrows. When can I see you? I told you never to speak to me in public. My home tonight at 8:30. At the morgue of a local newspaper. Who's the chap speaking to Senator Barrows? Why, that's Alex Greer, the slickest lobbyist in Washington. No one knows what interests back him. Again, we like names. We need names. We're building characters. We're world building. Alex Greer. You know, it could be a thug working for Lex. It could be anything. Get anything for you. All right. 8:30 p.m. outside Senator Barrows' residence. An eavesdropper listens in on an interesting conversation. Now, again, this is a little fucked up considering Washington, D.C. doesn't have any fucking skyscrapers. Shitty artist. I told you to avoid me in public. What would people think if they knew I had anything to do with you? Quit your sputtering. I had to see you. Tell me, do you think you'll succeed in pushing the bill through? There's no doubt about it. The bill will be passed before its full implications are realized. Before any remedial steps can be taken, our country will be embroiled with Europe. Fine. We'll take care of you financially for this. I suppose you're going to be well taken care of yourself? You bet he will. Upon leaving Barrows, Greer is confronted by Superman. Who's behind your corrupting Senator Barrows? I don't know what you're talking about. So you're one of those silent men, huh? We'll see whether you'll talk. Let go of my hand. Your foot will do just as well. Well, stop, we'll be electrocuted. No, we won't. Birds sit on telephone wires and they aren't electrocuted. See, Superman's a wise ass. That's what I kind of like, is that Superman's a fucking wise ass in these fucking stories. Not unless they're touched by a telephone pole and are grounded. Oops, almost touched that pole. Superman is fucking with this guy. You don't really see that in the modern comics. Look, the Capitol. Let's pay it a visit. Take me down! Take me down! What a magnificent view. Help! Help! I wonder if we could jump all the way to that building. No! Don't! Despite Greer's frenzied protests, Superman leaps out into the night. Missed, doggone it! And so begins the startling adventures of the most sensational strip character of all time. Superman! A physical marvel. A mental wonder. Superman is destined to reshape the destiny of a world. Only in Action Comics can you thrill at the daring deeds of this superb creation. Don't miss an issue. They just cut it off? So he's jumping from building to building, and that's how they end the issue. All right, well. Not sure there's anything reused with that part. We got a guy parachuting. This is when Action Comics was a bunch of anthology stories, so I was going to end at that issue, but fuck. Now I got to see how this fucking ends. I haven't read these fucking comics in 9 billion years, so it's all fresh again. All right, here we go. As they topple like a plummet to the street below, 80 stories distant. Again, there's no fucking there's no buildings that tall in fucking Washington, D.C. Lying sack of shit. Greer shrieks insanely the entire length of the building. And they strike the sidewalk. It bursts into fragments. Say, wasn't that fun? Let's do it again. No! I'll talk. The man behind the threatening war is Emil Norval, the munitions magnate. You'll find him at his Lexington Park estate. All right, again, we're world building. We're taking down locations. We'll work with some map makers as we put some more money into this. Emil Norval, arms dealer, or Tony Stark, if you will. Arms dealer. Setting off war in Metropolis. Remember, everything we're doing is based in Metropolis now. So these things, we're all going to keep it in Metropolis. I don't want to leave Metropolis in season 1. Except when Clark maybe goes to Smallville. You just get away from things. Maybe when people swarm him when he makes his first public appearance as Superman. Lexington Park Estate. Having secured the information he desires, Superman takes an abrupt leave of Greer, springs to the top of the Washington Monument, gets his bearings, then begins his dash towards Norval's residence. Meanwhile, I can't explain over the phone, Norville, but you're about to receive a visit from the most dangerous man alive. Don't worry, Greer. I'll take certain precautions to ensure he doesn't remain alive long. 5 minutes elapse, then Superman steps through the window of Emil Norval's study and calmly confronts him. Whether or not you like it or not, Norval, you're coming with me. Sorry, but I've got other plans. As he speaks, the munitions manufacturer surreptitiously reaches behind him to press a button on his desk. Jesus Christ, this is shit writing. What are you holding behind you? Give it to me. All right, boys, he asked for it. Let him have it. Show him his dick. Instantly, several panels about the room slide out and aside and step a number of... Oh, no. Instantly, several panels about the room slide aside and outstep a number of armed guards. Next moment, Superman is in the center of a deafening machine gun. With all the craziness going on today with the guns, I would like to limit gun usage because I think we're all hypocrites to say that the gun thing has gone out of control and then all of a sudden you're just writing about guns like all those Hollywood actors that are condemning gun violence. You have to fucking do the first movie where they're shooting somebody. I feel the real intelligence and the real challenge in writing today has to be getting away from just guns. Because again, I'm just ripping this off if I just have panels open up and a bunch of guys come out with guns. But of course, it's always fun and iconic to see bullets bouncing off of Superman. But again, we've seen it 1,000 times. I don't mind the whole fucking sliding things, especially with the whole senator. If Superman's going after a senator or the governor is corrupt, and Lex and Superman take down this governor at the end of this episode, something simple where they have to team up and Lois helps out and they're taking down the governor. Maybe the governor owns the roadhouse. He works with Butch Matson and this Greer, and they're trying to fucking turn San Monte into a fucking drug den. There's so many things we can do with all this that we could play around with. We try to put it all into some beautiful menagerie of a story that, again, can be solved and brought up in this first episode where they team up together, expose somebody. But again, Lex could be taking down the governor because maybe he wants to run for governor himself, or he'll just fall into it. They're both young. What I want to also introduce is that both Lex and Clark are about the same age, young, early 20s, moving to Metropolis. Like I want that idea of almost like college age. They're neither one went to college, or like Lex left school early because he's a genius, and of course Clark didn't go to college. He played football in high school until he found out his powers, and then his father, when his father dies, when both his parents die, that's when he's inspired. They're the ones, of course, that inspire him to become a hero, and we'll get to that, of course. But we want to put our own stamp on this. You don't want to just rewrite the story because you're not doing any service as a writer. You're just basically rehashing bullshit. But I do like the idea of the panels opening up. I like that. I think that's fucking cool. Panel. Get the fucking sunglasses off. I can't see shit. I'm typing here. Always read. All right. Lexington Park Estate. Panel sliding. Doors. Thugs come out. Henchmen with weapons. Because you can have a lot of fun with Superman just beating the fuck out of motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Superman whipping some ass. We like the idea of a corrupt, again, governor or senator working with the arms dealer to try and condemn San Monte, the neighborhood, the poor neighborhood in Metropolis, the ethnic neighborhood, if you will. Something involving the neighborhood of San Monte, this arms dealer, and the gangster. Something's going down in San Monte that's going to involve Lex, Clark, and Lois. So we don't want Lex to be too weak. Lex's intelligence has got to give him some attractive qualities, some strength, so that you can have a love triangle. We want a love triangle. I don't want it just, Lex wants Lois and Lois wants Clark. Lois should have some attraction to Lex. We want a legitimate love triangle between the three. So again, writing challenges. We want writing challenges. We want to go on our own, choose your own adventures by using this soft material as a blueprint, if you will. Unharmed by the rain of machine gun bullets, Superman streaks towards the would-be murderers. Good heavens, he won't die. Glad I can't say the same for you. So Superman's killing motherfuckers. A moment later, a dozen bodies fly headlong out the window and into the night. The machine guns wrap firmly around their necks. Oh. You see how I effortlessly crushed this bar of iron in my hand? That bar could easily be your neck. Now for the last time, you're coming with me. So I do like that RoboCop thing. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Yes, immediately. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. You see that steamer? It's the Baronta. Tomorrow it leaves for San Monte. Unless I find you aboard it when it sails, I swear I'll follow you to whatever hole you hide in and tear out your cruel heart with my bare hands. I'll be on it. The Baronta. The Baronta. It's kind of a stupid name for a ship. A ship in Metropolis Harbor. You work with that. We're world building. Remember world building? Next day, an odd variety of passengers board the San Monte bound steamer Baronta. Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Lois, what are you doing here? Our editor decided to have me accompany you to the war zone and send back dispatches colored with my distinctive feminine touch. A group of sullen-faced toughs who possibly intend to enlist with one of the armed... A group of sullen-faced toughs who possibly intend to enlist with one of the armies as paid mercenaries. Lola Cortez, woman of mystery and exotic beauty who fairly radiates danger and intrigue. Fucking hey, we got ourselves more characters. Lola Cortez. Exotic woman of mystery. All right, we got ourselves a mystery character. Is Lola Cortez this heiress, This rich chick, is she involved? Is she become a benefactor to Lex? Do we involve her in this love triangle between is there Lola, Lolis, and Clark? We got all these L's. Lola Cortez, exotic woman of mystery. She owns the Baronta. This is her ship. We could have parties. We can have lavish parties. Remember, Clark's a writer, so Clark's our main character, of course, because we're the writer, we're the readers, we're the adventurers, and we're taking this adventure with Clark and Lex. Radiates danger and intrigue. And Emil Norval, who hurries pasty-faced up the gangplank and quickly confines himself to his cabin. Half an hour later, the Baronta hoists its anchor and slips out to sea, destined for one of the strangest voyages the world has ever known. And its first night out, as Norval nervously paces his cabin, there comes a knock at the door as he answers it. You! Yes, thought I'd drop by and compliment you on having sense to show up. A moment after Superman departs. That's him. Remember, if he dies, your reward will be fabulous. He's as good as dead right now. As Superman stands silently at the ship's rail, admiring the moonlight, he whirls suddenly at the sound of footsteps. All together now, get him! For an instant, Superman braces himself against the rail, and in that second it gives way. He is flung, twisting and turning into the ocean. The thugs report back to Norval. It was simple, a little shove and he toppled overboard. Now how about that dough you promised us? You'll get nothing. Get out of here, you trusting fools, and be glad I don't turn you over to the police. So he screws them over. They don't beat the shit out of him. Meanwhile, at that very instant, Superman, swimming vigorously, is caught up with the steamer. But instead of climbing aboard, he continues onward until the Baronta is outdistanced far behind. See you later. Next evening, a few minutes after the steamer lands, Norval is attacked by his double-crossed henchmen. Norval is saved by the timely appearance of Superman. Holy cats, it's him! Right, and here's where I even the score a little. Superman subjects the toughs to the severest thrashing of their lives. The thugs flee before his fury. You saved me, but why? Because the fate you escaped is pleasant indeed compared to the one I have in store for you. What are you going to do to me? Nothing if you join the San Monte army. Later in his hotel. If I can only do something. But it's suicide to resist that inhuman creature. I know what I'll do. I'll enlist in the army, then escape at the first opportunity. You. Yes, I joined too. I couldn't bear being part of him. He says, Superman, in his efforts as a superhuman, godlike being on the planet, is using this time to fuck with this arms dealer. That's interesting. I love Superman's attitude in these early issues, man. This fucking Superman's a badass. Even the art's fucking hideous, but the art is hideous. How you doing, my friend Tomeo? All right. I couldn't bear being parted from you. Orders from headquarters, sir. We're to move to the front. The new detachment moves in towards the battle line. What are you trying to do? Kill us both? You'll see. What I can't understand is why you manufacture munitions when it means that thousands will die horribly. Men are cheap, munitions expensive. So basically, Superman makes this guy enlist in the army, and they're just serving together. At that instant, a shell winds overhead, then bursts. The column of soldiers drops flat to escape flying fragments. This is no place for a sane man. I'll die. I see. When it's your own life that's at stake, your viewpoint changes. Shortly later, the company pitches camp, retires. Sentries are puzzled by a dark shadow. What was that? Probably just a bird. But in reality, it's Superman speeding to a strange rendezvous. In the enemy camp. But the question, General, is how strong are our lines? Impenetrable. And at that instant, a figure bursts into the tent. Smile, please. Thanks. A few minutes later, gone, but he won't escape. Gods! Later that evening, Clark Kent mails a package. Where to? The Evening News, Cleveland, Ohio. See, again, I don't like real shit. The Evening News prints the picture scoop. Meanwhile, Lois Lane and Lola Cortez have registered at the same hotel. I'm a reporter down here on a news assignment, and you? A wealthy traveler. At that instant, army officers enter the hotel. What's the trouble? Official business. Suddenly, panicky, Lola departs into an elevator and hides a certain document in Lois's room. An important document has been stolen. May we search the guest rooms? You have my permission. Sorry, madam. I told you that we were wasting time searching my room. The planted document is discovered in Lois's room. Sorry, we must place you under military arrest. But I know nothing of this. But I'm innocent. It is the judgment of this court that you should be executed at dawn for espionage. So we had in that first issue, Action Comics 1, they had to save some chick from being executed. But they just kind of ditched that fucking story. Superman just kind of helps with his speed. So again, the early comics were one-offs. They didn't continue stories yet. But we're going to try and take all these shit out and make our own story, taking these characters that popped up in the early days and giving them a modern twist in our Game of Thrones type world building efforts. Kent, in his disguise as a soldier, overhears an astounding bit of information. Have you heard? Lois Lane is spies to be executed in the morning. Yes, and exactly at dawn. And at that very moment, Lois is being led out to her death. I tell you, you're going to kill an innocent person. Almost faster than an eye can follow, a fantastic figure streaks past mile after mile. Ready, aim, fire! Down, down into the range of fire plummets Superman. Covering Lois's body with his own, he receives the shots meant for her. Shoot and be hanged! Stop! You can't do this, it's impossible! Thanks for letting me know. Superman, right, I'm still playing the role of gallant rescuer. What manner of being are you? Save the questions. I like that. Save the questions. Fuck you, Lois. Save the questions, bitch. I just saved you. Now jerk me off. Finally, Superman drops towards the ground into a mist of torturous inquisition. You'll tell me how many men are in their detachment, or let me go. What are you going to do? Give you the fate you deserve, you torturing devil. For an instant, Superman poises the torturer overhead, then tosses him into as though he were hurling a javelin. The torturer vanishes from view behind a grove of distant trees with a pitiful wail. He just fucking threw the guy to his death. Superman unties the torturer's captive's bonds. You're free to flee. Good luck. Didn't even think anything about it. So remember, Superman used to kill motherfuckers. We owe our lives to you. Later, after depositing Lois near the Baronta, Superman advised her to return to America. But when will I see you again? Who knows? Perhaps tomorrow, perhaps never. He is cool as a cucumber. And now to attend to Norville. But when Superman returns to his detachment, he finds anti-aircraft guns booming. The camp is being mercilessly riddled by a bloodthirsty aviator. Die! Like crawling ants! Superman leaps to the attack for the first time in all of history. A man battles an airplane single-handedly. The plane zooms towards Superman's figure, guns blazing, into a head-on crash. Its propellers shattered upon Superman's skin. The airplane falls to its doom. Alright, so Superman just killed two motherfuckers. Norville has witnessed the crash. Good! That finishes my nemesis. But then the next instant, hello, surprise, Superman, still alive. Let me return to the U.S. I've grown to hate war. Okay, but you gotta quit manufacturing munitions. Norville hurries aboard the Baronta for the return trip. From now on, the most dangerous thing I'll manufacture will be a firecracker. That about clears things up. Now just one more maneuver and my mission here will be finished. Shortly later, Superman emerges from a tent with the army commander under his arm. He also kidnaps the head of the opposing army. What do you want to do with us? I decided to end this war by having you two fight it out between yourselves. But go ahead, or I'll clean up on both of you myself. But why should we fight? We're not angry at each other. Then why are your armies battling? Can you tell me? I don't know. Can you? Gentlemen, it's obvious you've been fighting only to promote the sale of munitions. Why not shake hands and make up? And so, due to the conciliatory efforts of Superman, the war is halted. When Kent reports back to his editor, since you've gone, there's been no Superman news. Maybe he's retired for good. Somehow, Chief, I have a hunch he'll make his appearance again. Soon. See, I want to end this right. Maybe let's do one more issue. How long are we on here? How long are we on here now? Does it say? Look, we're still going. I think we got one more issue in us, right? One more issue? Can we do one more issue? I'd like to come up with a good end for this particular writing session. We're playing around with these guys that have popped up in these stories. Senator Barrows, Alex Greer, San Monte. The San Monte section of Metropolis. Old San Monte. Like San Juan. San Monte. Lexington Park. San Monte. Of course, Lex will be moving to Lexington Park. Clark will live in San Monte. Kind of like, something like Dick Grayson did by going to Bloodhaven. Clark will set up. Clark will set up his place, his residence, to be close to crime. It'll be like something like with Kingpin and Daredevil, where somebody wants to take out San Monte and just like fucking put a whole new neighborhood there. It could be like it would be a tribute to Superman with the real estate thing. The governor, the senator, the gangster, the arms dealer, all of these guys can be in on the real estate deal. It can be such a simple story. They want the gangs and residents to kill each other off so they can plow in and take over the neighborhood as the center of Metropolis' resurrection. So the idea is the resurrection of Metropolis. The resurrection of Metropolis begins in San Monte. But they want to clear out all of the old residents. So, like these four men, and Lola too. Lola is also on the pound. Is on the deal. She tried to have fucking Lois killed. She tries to kill Lois. Lois, when she finds out. Lois will be the sleuth. Lois uncovers things, uncovers Lola's involvement, and Lola will either frame her. That's when we have the whole execution. Clark or Lex will save Lois from execution. Because we're not going with the weakling Clark Kent here. Clark loves being Clark Kent. Like when John Byrne took over. Let's do one more issue. Fuck it. I'm having fun here. I'm enjoying this tonight. Let's enjoy ourselves a little bit longer. I want to love you just a little bit longer. All right. One more issue. Then I'm going to get fucking dessert. A creaking of timber. An ominous rumble. And then, with a terrific crash, the Blakely coal mine caves in, entrapping a lone miner within its terrible confines. The Blakely coal mine. The Blakely coal mine. Don't worry about breaking down pages right now. Now we're just trying to come up with format. We can break down the pages later on. All right, let's do this. Telegraph lines carry the shocking news to a stunned world. Stanislaw Koba, miner, trapped in a cave-in. Please, Chief, let me handle this assignment. Go to it, Kent. Stanislaw Kober. I like that name. Stanislaw Kober, miner. Again, we can make these guys better characters than what they are. Shortly later, a streaking figure speeds towards Blakelytown to a terrific pace that not even the fastest auto or airplane could win. Blakelytown, again, that could be like Chinatown for our world building of Metropolis. Blakelytown. Section of Metropolis. Terrific pace that not even the fastest auto or airplane could duplicate. Upon reaching the Blakely mine, Kent, disguised as a miner, approaches the pit. There's been no signal from the rescue crew in the last 10 minutes. Back, you. Keep away from that edge. Help! I'm falling! You fool! I told you to keep back. Pretending to slip, Clark stumbles into the lift shaft. Down plunges Superman in a fall which would have meant death for an ordinary man. As Superman strikes the bottom of the shaft, he detects gas. Poison gas. Somebody farted. His physical structure unaffected by the gas, Superman continues along the mine's bottom, until he stumbles upon a dozen unconscious figures. The rescue party. I better get them out of here before the gas finishes its deadly work. A trifle unceremonious, but the occasion demands it. Placing the men on a lift, Superman jerks the signal cord and the elevator begins its upward journey. And that's that. Now to really get to work. Upon a rounding in the curve in the tunnel, Superman comes upon the great wall of coal which separates him from the entrapped miner. And he's Superman, and he fucks it up. This is going to be mere child's play. Attacking the sturdy barrier with his bare hands, Superman proceeds to demolish it as though it were be constructed of putty. I'll have you free in a few moments. Got him. Golly, his condition is pretty serious. This guy's fucked up. I've got to get him to a hospital at once. But when Superman reaches the elevator lift, the signal cord, it doesn't work. Superman commences to climb the elevator cable hand over hand. Look! Down there, someone's climbing the cable. Holy mackerel, he's rising like a streak of lightning. When Superman reaches the pit's edge, gosh almighty, it's Cobra! Get him to a hospital, quick! Here's the dope, Chief. Cobra was rescued. I like that. Here's the dope, Chief. Cobra was rescued by an unidentified miner, but the doctors say he'll be crippled for life. Next day, Stanislaw Clover, maimed miner, receives a visitor. My name is Kent. I represent a powerful newspaper. Tell me, in your opinion, could the mine tragedy have been prevented? Sure. Months ago, we know the mine is unsafe, but we tell the boss's foreman, they say, no like job, Jenislaw, quit. You mean to say the owner disregarded the mine's dangerous condition? Yeah, but we no quit. Got wife, kids, bills. So back we go into mine. Long hours, little pay, maybe to die. So we know fucking Clark's gonna be Michael Moore. He's gonna save the fucking thing. He's gonna fuck up the mine owner. We see these early stories have an ongoing theme of rich people fucking taking advantage of the poor. Stop asking me to take a fuck. Can we make this thing stop? Stop. Fucking computer. An hour later, Ken is admitted into the presence of Thornton Blakely, mine owner. Thornton Blakely. I don't know if we're going to use it, but you never know. Do. All right, what we got? So, have you arranged a pension for the unfortunate miner who was crippled in the cave-in? Certainly not. Cobra can thank his own carelessness for the plight. However, the company will be generous enough to pay a reasonable portion of his hospital bills and maybe even consider offering him a $50 retirement bonus. But surely you're going to repair the bad safety conditions in your mine. There are no safety habits in my mine, but if there were, what of it? I'm a businessman, not a humanitarian. And now, since all of this is none of your business, fuck off. Let's consider the interview closed. That night, Superman, clad in his miner's garb, drops out of the skies like some occult-avenging demon into the barred and closely guarded confines of the Blakely estate. Drawn by the sound of laughter, music, and revelry, he peers through the window and discovers a gay party in the progress. Oh, wow, it's a fucking orgy. I have a notion to crash this party to bits. Look, a prowler. Don't move. Got him. Superman deliberately allows himself to be captured. What are you doing here? He won't answer. Let's take him to the boss. What's the meaning of this interruption? We caught this bohunk, probably a sneak thief, window peeping. Shall we take him into the station and rough him up? All I ask is a few minutes alone with this window peeper in the back room at headquarters, and you'll have a full confession, Mr. Blakely. Man, these guys are all... It's all a gay party going for everybody. Whatever you say for yourself. Beautiful ladies. Much music. Rich party. I read of these things tonight. I want to see them with my own eyes. Superman is fucking with motherfuckers. See, he's good at going undercover. I see. Just a sap. Give him a beating he'll never forget, gods, and then turn him loose. Come on, you. Outside. Wait. I've changed my mind. Let him stay. Gather round, folks. Here's where the party starts lighting up. So the rich people are fucking when they think he's a big dumb idiot. So they're having, like, I guess, what was that stupid movie where all the rich guys had to bring their own idiots to the party? For some fun. Blakely's got one of his comical inspirations. Elsa Maxwell has nothing on Blakely when it comes to throwing a novel party. Elsa Maxwell. We got all these names. You know, you could do a whole fucking Arrow thing. Socialite. We're building our city. Nothing when it comes to throwing a novel party. To the right, folks, you'll see a social climbing miner who narrowly missed having his block knocked off because he attempted to see how the other half lives. I wonder what he's leading up to. On the left, my dull-witted friend, you see a mob of pampered nincompoops whose sole activity in life is searching for new ways to escape boredom. It's a great line. Was he referring to us? Blakely's going too far. What say, folks? Let's compromise. We'll finish the party in the mine. Our miner pal here will guide us and feast his eyes on us. And as for us, we'll make merry in the bowels of the earth. Hurrah! The man's a genius. On to the mine. Led by Superman, the crowd of singing, shouting, sable and evening clothes-clad partygoers march gaily through the mine. The merrymakers crowd onto the shaft platform in shrill laughter. The moment later, they are on their way to the pit's bottom. I brought some sandwiches. To heck with the sandwiches. Who brought a flask? Isn't this thrilling? Better hold on tight to that rail. On second thought, why not hold on to me? Where's the rail got that I've got? How fresh. Now the writing's good here. All out! End of the line. Well, folks, I promised you a new thrill. What do you think of it? Ugh, what a horrid-looking place. While the others walk further into the mine. Don't tell me people actually work down here. George, I don't like this filthy mine. We shouldn't have come. Superman drops back. Now to put a hastily conceived plan into action. And attacks the wooden tunnel supports. There, that ought to do the trick. Superman rejoins the slumming party. Where in blazes did you disappear? I've been here the whole time. A moment later, the tunnel is shaken by a rumbling roar. Good Lord, what's that? Panic-stricken, the entire group races back along the tunnel, until it's forced to come to a sudden stop. A cave-in! Great Scott! We're buried alive. Buried alive! Ooh! Help me! I'm suffocating! No, you can't be. Arrow lasts another 24 hours. Another 24 hours? Yes. Then we've nothing to worry about. We'll be freed by a rescue squad in no time. Maybe rescued in 5 minutes. Maybe never. You, this was your clever idea. Don't hit me. Steady. I've half a mind to let him loose. Don't. Wait. The safety devices. Why didn't I think of them sooner? We're as good as saved right now. Thank goodness for the safety devices. Whew. For a moment I thought we were doomed. See, I smashed the glass cover, then jerked down the electric signal lever. Forgive me, old man. I'm sorry I flew off the handle. That's all right. Oh, it doesn't work. Like the other safety devices in the mine, rusty. No good. Used blasted skinflint. If you had equipped the mine with proper safety precautions, we might have gotten out alive. Stop him! It's no time to quarrel amongst ourselves. Our lives are at stake. Correct. And here are some picks and shovels abandoned by workers. You take this pick and get busy. If I'm content to die, if you want to live, you dig. No, I'm content to die. Wow, he takes all the rich people down to the mine and then fucking sabotages it and just fucking with them. Superman fucks with people. If we ever get out of this mine, the first act will be to fire you. If we get out. Knee-deep in stagnant water, struggling with unwieldy tools, slipping, frequently falling, the entrapped pleasure-seekers seek desperately but vainly to batter down the huge barrier of coal. Hurry while the air supply lasts. We've got to get out. We've got to. I'm winded. I can't keep this up. Think of the miners. They have to do this 14 hours a day. Meanwhile, a rescue party of workers frantically on the other side of the barrier. It's no use. We'll never get out of here. Oh, I'll die. Oh, if I had to do this all over again, I never knew. I really knew what the men down here have to face. That's all I've been waiting to hear. Eventually, tired beyond endurance, the mine's prisoners collapse limply. While the others sleep, Superman tears down the barrier, permitting the miners to enter and rescue the group. Drager, men, we're saved! Mister, are we glad to see you? Hurry! There's liable to be another cave in any second. Several days later, Kent again visits Blakely. You can announce that henceforth my mine will be the safest in the country, and my workers the best treated. My experience in the mine brought their problems closer to my understanding. Congratulations on your new policy. May it be a permanent one, and if it isn't, you'd expect another visit from Superman. Hey, fellers. Have you sent in your application for the membership of the Superman of America? If not, fuck your mother. All right. Now I got to take a break. So what I'm liking here is we got the mine. We use the mine is actually a secret underground tunnel from Blakelytown to San Monte, which is the secret tunnel being used by the arms dealer. See, I don't want to just go with the boring, it's just a real estate thing. The rich gamble. Something really fucking sinister. The rich gamble on the war inside Metropolis. I want the idea of like San Monte. San Monte is like fucking Johannesburg. Like Metropolis is becoming like Johannesburg. Because we want Superman coming into a fucking city that's a war zone. You know, it's a war zone. And like that guy was saying about the rich people curing their boredom. So we want to be different, a little bit different, but being fucking cool by orchestrating a war in Metropolis and betting on the results. Lois and Clark will uncover this conspiracy, like something really fucking wicked, some real Hellfire Club shit, something wicked, like was that Hostel, like Hostel, like playing with lives of the poor, like Squid Game. There you go. The rich are using the poor of Metropolis the tunnel, the abandoned coal mine, is the tunnel for the arms dealer, funneling chaos into San Monte. All right, so we got our first little piece of a story. We're going to take a break because I'm fucking hungry. And the idea is when I come back, I'll take all this. Now, what I'll always have is the PDF will always be available so you can download the master file. So what I got to do is take all this junk, all this layout that we've done, and turn it into a story. What I like to always do is I always set up every page to be 6 panels a page. Oh, fuck your mother. What did we just do here? Panel 1, panel 2, panel 3, panel 4, 5. Again, you can do splash pages if you want, but I basically start with a 6-panel system. And then you just basically, you copy paste it all, Probably want to caps lock when you're doing the pages so they're easy to see. It's nothing more fun than writing a script. Oop. 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 Okay, so if anything below that, of course, you want to abandon that. That. No, there's always little tedious things to do. Oh, shit, my buddy Tommy T. It was definitely drunk in Vegas. Boom. And boom. Get rid of that, get rid of that. And the idea is you're going to copy paste this 60 fucking times. Now, we're not going to do that 60 times right now, but the idea is that always leave off at the end of your file. Yeah. Always leave off. So we did the first 3 issues of Action Comics tonight. Pick up Action Comics number 4. So when we come back next Professor Kane's writing class, I'll have this formatted out, and then you'll be able to look at it. We'll go over it, and hopefully I think we got 4 or 5 pages, maybe even 6 pages out of this layout that we played with before. We got some characters, we got some locations. We're going to start world building and making our fucking Metropolis pilot, baby. 60 pages, the ultimate graphic fucking novel to set off our world. We'll pick this back up at Action Comics number 4 when we come back to Mr. K's writing class. So, peace, love, war. Don't forget to check out the brand new Pharaoh's Lounge Kickstarter. Pick yourself up a copy of the new Happy Harley Days book. It's the shit. You want it, you gotta have it. It's awesome. I'm awesome. Peace, love, war. All other crazy shit in between.